And don't forget that you can literally do anything you want to if you put your mind to it. And I really do believe in that. You understanding that just because you have committed X amount of time to something doesn't mean you need to keep doing it, you know, because you literally only have one life. Hello, beautiful people from the internet. It is Connie over here, and if you're asking yourselves, why am I so pushed to the side? It's because there's an annoying street light over there that I'm trying to avoid, and that's why my camera is turned to this way. So I'm sorry that I will have to be a little bit more to the side, but today I'm going to be talking about something that I find very interesting, which is my change of perception and my acceptance of when things go wrong, and how I stopped basically caring so much, or as much as I did, about how things go. And if they go bad, how I stopped caring so much about that, and just that kind of thing. Because I used to be a person that would give all my heart to something, and every time something went wrong, I would be extremely devastated. And I'm not like that anymore. And I feel like I just wanted to talk a little bit about that while smoking my Chesterfield cigarillo. So yeah, let's give it a light. And I'm gonna give you a bunch of examples that have happened yesterday and today that have tested my patience and that have made me realize that I'm not the person that I used to be like a year ago, 2 years ago. So yeah, let's light it up. So a little bit of backstory, I guess, is that I have always been a very caring person. So I care a lot about the things that I do and the people that are around me, the way they feel, the way they perceive me, the way that I make myself presentable to them, the way that I make them just feel, I guess. That's the best way to describe them. And especially the place where I noticed this the most was in school. I used to be a very good student from 10th to 12th grade, which is basically high school here in Portugal. I was a straight A student. It's not like the system of grading is not the same here, but I was the equivalent of a straight A student, basically. And I was always extremely stressed about being perfect, because I thought that my goal in life was to go to psychology university and become a psychologist.
Hello guys, Editing Connie here. But basically what I was trying to say here is that I thought that my goal in life was to go to psychology school, because I basically made myself believe that, because I came to a point in my high school years where I was like, what am I gonna do? And one day I just decided, psychology school, with no base behind that, beside the fact that I liked psychology. So basically I just forced myself to think that I really wanted to go to psychology school, so that's why.
And I needed a specific grade for that, so I tried really, really, really hard. And every time something went wrong, according to grades, for example, I would not have a 20, which is the perfect grade here in Portugal. I would have an 18 or a 19.5. I would beat myself up for it, which are grades that most students would be ecstatic about. I was beating myself up for them. So I used to be that kind of person, and not only with grades, but anything that would happen in my life that went a little bit not according to my plan, I would shut down, and my whole day, week, month would be ruined because of that one little occasion. So that is basically the backstory of how I used to behave before. So I was like this for a lot of years. I went to psychology university and I hated it, and I dropped out, and then I went to sociology to do a graduation, not graduation, like a undergrad. I don't know how you call it in English, but here it's basically like you go to make a course.
Okay, so turns out I'm literally the worst person explaining things. So what I was trying to say is that I switched from psychology to sociology just because I thought I needed to do any course with no basis. I didn't know anything about sociology. I didn't even care about it. I just switched. So yeah, I basically just switched my major from psychology, and I went from first year psychology to first year of sociology. So I didn't skip any grades. I just had to start from scratch, but I just started a new course basically.
So I went to the sociology course, and I couldn't be perfect at it, because you cannot have perfect grades in university because it's way more challenging. And I beat myself up for it every day, and I had to quit because mentally I was not prepared to not be perfect all the time. So after I left university, and I was kind of like, what am I going to do with my life now, because the path that you are shown from your parents, your teachers, everyone that you see is you leave high school, you go to university, you finish university, you get a job, you have that job, you do that job for X amount of years, you retire, and then you are retired. And that was the path that I knew. And I was like, if I'm skipping this step, if I'm not going to university, how am I going to have the job? How am I going to be retired one day? How am I going to have a good life, make money, whatever? So I spent some pretty bad months after I left university because I was just always questioning if I was a burden, because I was not doing anything at that point. Anything. I was kind of figuring myself out. That is not considered doing something, you know? When people need time to kind of figure themselves out, no one gives them like the benefit of like, you need time, you are taking time to figure out what you want to do. No one says that. It's like, are you not working? Are you not in school? You are a burden to society and you might as well not exist. So that is basically the mindset that I used to have. But then I kind of started realizing that things are not that linear, you know? And that making a kid at 17, 18 years old try to choose what they want to do for the rest of their lives is completely unrealistic, because at 17, 18, you have been your whole life in school. You have not experienced anything outside of school. So you don't know anything that you want to do because you have never done anything, you know? You've been in school, maybe you had some sports, maybe you know that you want to become a professional in these sports. Maybe, I don't know, you want to be a chess master, you want to be a tennis player, something like that, but you have never done anything outside of being 8 hours stuck in school, not really given any tips on how you are going to figure out what you want to do, you know? So I didn't really realize that until I took the time to be like, I'm going to do the things that I like now because I have the time to do so, you know? And that's why I think, for example, gap years are so important between high school and university, or even when you are in university, maybe don't go to the next year like right away. You can take a gap year, figure out, like, do different things, go to other countries, do different activities, volunteer, work, do whatever. Try a new hobby, maybe you figure out that you really like that hobby, you know, but you can only kind of do those things if you have the time to do them. So when I realized that, first of all, time is really just in our perception. Because, for example, I used to be the type of person where I would be like, it's a new week. I knew that I hate Tuesdays because I have these classes on Tuesdays, and Fridays are very easy for me because I have less classes. But then I started realizing that every week, Tuesday is not a Tuesday, is a completely new day that you have never lived.
And also, basically, I used to attach like bad feelings to certain days of the week just because I knew that they were always more difficult days than others. So for example, Thursdays were always like a bad day for me. So every Wednesday night I would already be feeling bad because I knew that the day after would be a Thursday. But it's like, it's not a Thursday, it's just a day that you've never lived before. And why did no one tell me this? I don't know. So that's why I'm telling you.
You will never live the same day again. So when you are like, you will have the same classes, of course, as you had the past Tuesday, you know, but you will not have the same experiences because it's a completely new day. So the first thing that I did was change my perception of time in that area. I have to keep relighting this. The first thing I did was kind of realize, like, the next Tuesday is not a Tuesday, it's a new day that I've never lived before. And I'm going to do new things with this Tuesday because I don't have to do the same things that I do every Tuesday, you know? But you can only do this when you have time to do it, and you can only realize these things when you have time to realize them. So that's why I think, like, just taking time for things is so important, because there are a bunch of realizations that you can make about yourself and about the way you do things that you never realize when you are stuck in, I wake up at 8 a.m., I go to do this and this and this and this, and then at 7 p.m. I'm back home, I have dinner, and I go to sleep, and I do the same thing over and over again. And this is a privilege that I have, and that I realize it's a privilege. But it's also something that I feel like no one knows that they can do. You don't need to rush things so fast just because it's the same way that you see everyone else doing. You can literally take your time. You can take 1 year or 2 years off. Like, if you live 80 years of your life, if you live 100 years, what is 2 years that you took to realize what we really like to do, instead of just being rushing, trying to catch up with everyone else, you know? But then something that comes with taking your time is you start feeling like you are falling back, because maybe if you didn't go to college right away, you start seeing your friends go to college, they are on the second year, third year, and you are still like working, trying to figure out what you want to do, and you start feeling like you are falling back. And that is something that I definitely felt. And that was not right, because in reality, you are not falling back. You are literally just taking your time to try and understand what you like to do. When, for example, your friend that went to med school, maybe they realized they wanted to be a doctor sooner than you realized what you wanted to do, you know? So some people just need more time to realize, because it's also very like linked to how you lived your childhood. Did you have time to do hobbies and sports and to think about what are the things that you liked? Or did you have a rough childhood where you had to take care of other people? You maybe had to work to help your family since you were like 14 years old. If you didn't have the specific time when you were a child to realize what you wanted to do, then you will have to take that time later, or else you would just be stuck living your life for the rest of time just doing something that you don't like just because you are trying to catch up with everyone else. Wow, my ash just fell on me. And the point of this is I used to be a person that cared a lot and was always rushing to catch up with everyone else, where I didn't even know what I wanted to do. I had no clue what were the things that I liked to do because I never took that time. And I was always so worried when everything went wrong. I was like, I'm losing time because now I have to fix this thing that went wrong. While other people have their perfect lives, nothing is going wrong with them, and they have all this time because they don't have to take steps back because they have to try and fix the things that went wrong. Even mentally, you know, if you have some trauma, if you have anxiety, if you have depression, it's harder for you than for the people that don't have those kinds of conditions, you know. And what made me realize that I'm not caring as much about setbacks as I used to is something very dumb, actually. So for example, I had this video that I was really passionate about that I recorded and edited. It took me like 10 hours to edit. And then I uploaded it to YouTube with a song that was supposedly non-copyrighted, you know. And YouTube struck me with a copyright thing, not strike, but said it was like, this video is not going to be monetized because you used a song that is copyrighted. So all the money from this video is going to go to the respectful person that created the music. And I was like, what? But this was supposed to be a song that was not copyrighted. And I feel like if this had happened to me a year ago, I would have been so mad and beating myself up for it every day. And now I was just kind of like, okay, it's fine because I have time to do more videos that I'm passionate about. This video is still going to go up. It's already went up. It was that video of a gloomy day in my life, or like a vlog trying to make myself feel better, something like that. And if it was a year ago, I would have beaten myself up for it. I would have deleted it. I would have been like, how am I going to fix this? Whatever. Another thing that made me realize this was yesterday, I tried to come record this video and it started pouring rain as I was finishing to record the video. So all of the audio just went completely like broken because of the rain. So I had to scratch it. And I would have been like a year ago, I would have been like, I just wasted so much time recording a video that will never see the light of day because the rain poured on me, and like it's something that I cannot control. So I just thought to myself, you know what, I'll just record it tomorrow. I have time, you know. I don't know, it's just these little things that I've been realizing that I don't panic as much as I did before, which is also a part of growing up and kind of understanding these things that I've been understanding about perception of time, and you don't have to rush, that I didn't understand before. Because what I always heard was, go to school, go to university, get a job, do the job, retire, and that's your life. But that is not your life, you know. And I also watched a very important video, which was from a streamer. Like, I'm not going to talk too much about it because I don't feel like a lot of people know them, but basically all of these stories of people that went to X university and did X course for 8 years of their life, and then they realized they didn't want to do it. And what this person was saying is, I could have just continued doing what I was doing because I had already committed 8 years of my life to it. Or I could just realize that I didn't like doing it and completely change my path. And that is obviously a privilege, but that is also you understanding that just because you have committed X amount of time to something doesn't mean you need to keep doing it, you know, because you literally only have one life. And I feel like sometimes we don't realize that if we commit to something for our life forever, this is what we are going to be doing forever, and this is our life. But you can literally change paths and start doing something that you actually enjoy. I don't really know like if this is going to be uploaded, because I feel like it's a valuable thing to say, but I don't know if I have the right like grammar and vocabulary in English to actually express what I'm trying to say. Because I feel like if I was talking in Portuguese about this, I would come off in a completely different way. But because I feel like I don't have the right vocabulary for the things that I'm trying to say, I might come off just as a privileged stupid little kid that just was like, all right, fuck the system and I'm just gonna do what I want. And that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is you literally have time, because time is just a construct. And although I used to make fun of people that said that, I now realize that that is true. And the moment I realized that that was true was when I started realizing that days of the week are a construct, and that another Monday is not another Monday. It's a completely new day that you have never lived before and you will never live again, you know? So I don't know, man. This might not even go on YouTube because I feel like it's a lot of things that I'm talking about and maybe it's all scrambled and I'm not making any sense, you know? But at the same time, I feel like it could help someone because, I don't know, I feel like even with goals, for example, the new year, and I set a bunch of goals for myself. And when I set goals, I don't set realistic goals. What I do is I set goals that, I just said that so many times, that I know I will not accomplish easily. Because the thing with goals is that the most fun part of having a goal is the way through to achieving it, is not actually achieving it, because then you actually achieve your goal and then what? And then you do what, you know? So for example, one of my goals for this year is to become fluent in Spanish, Italian, and Japanese. And that is impossible, you know? I cannot become fluent in 3 languages in 1 year. But I set that goal to myself because all of this year, I will just keep chasing those goals. I will never stop because I will never achieve them, at least in a span of a year, you know? So, I don't know. This was a bunch of just random scrambling, I guess, and just a bunch of different thoughts. And I just feel like I'm a very more relaxed person now than I used to be, which has also helped me tremendously with my mental health, because every time something goes wrong, even if it's a little thing or a big thing, I'm able to be like, I have time to fix it. It's okay. It will be fixed eventually. Nothing is going to be broken forever because that's impossible. So it's all right, you know? So I don't know. I feel like that could be valuable for someone, but I feel like I'm not coming across as I want to come across. But I hope that through editing this video and I can maybe write some captions and be like, this is what I wanted to say when I was saying this, you know? I don't know. This might not go on YouTube, but if it goes on YouTube and if you are watching this, I hope it helped you somehow realize that even if you committed 10 years to something, 20 years to something, you can right now be like, maybe this is not what I want to do. You can start developing a new skill. I'm not saying like quit whatever you are doing. I'm saying if you realize you like crocheting, I think that's how you say it in English, start doing projects of it. Start an online little business on it. Start making TikTok, start making an Instagram page, and maybe one day it will become your full-time job. You know, I'm just saying, like, just because you committed X amount of time to something doesn't mean you have to do it for the rest of your life. That's all I wanted to say, I guess. But yeah, you know what? The hard part about smoking cigarillos is that these things keep like going out, so I have to keep relighting them. But yeah, you know what? I just hope this was somewhat valuable for anyone out there. If it wasn't, it was good for me because I just spent the past 17 minutes talking and it just made me realize that I feel like this is the right path that I'm going in. Taking the time that I needed to realize, like making videos, for example, is something that I always wanted to do. But I was always scared of people's opinions. I was always scared that I was going to fail at it. But that time that I took between dropping my university and that time, those months I had to be like, what am I going to do? I was like, well, I'm not doing anything. Might as well try to do this thing that I've always wanted to do, which was YouTube. And guess what? I committed so much time to it that somehow it started working, you know? So yeah, you know what? I just really hope you have enjoyed this video and I hope it was helpful somehow. And I hope you come back to see more, all right? And don't forget that you can literally do anything you want to if you put your mind to it. And I really do believe in that. And I believe in you, that you are watching this and you are like, I have this goal that is too big and I will not achieve it. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. Just put your mind to it. And I truly believe that you can do whatever you want, all right? I'll see you all in the next video and I hope you have enjoyed. Bye.